The Indiana Fever were supposed to rise. With all the hype around Caitlin Clark, with a growing young core, and big names like Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston, it looked like the blueprint was finally working. But the second Caitlin Clark isn't on the floor, it all falls apart. We're not just talking about missed shots. We're talking complete breakdowns on offense, on defense, in the rotation, and even in team identity. This isn't a slump. This is a team exposing its biggest flaws the second its star sits down. And what we've seen in these last few games is simple. Stephanie White's system does not work unless Clark is saving it. From tunnel vision guards refusing to swing the ball, to role players left for dead in broken lineups, the Indiana Fever are on the edge. And today, we're breaking down 9 moments that prove this team is crumbling, because without Caitlin Clark, there is no plan B.
So lads, today we're going to be talking about something that has become increasingly obvious in recent games, and it's the reason why I think that the Indiana Fever's motion offense long-term isn't going to be the most successful thing in the world. Like, I think in general, when it comes to their motion offense, like there are times it's looked okay, there are certain lineups where it's looked okay, but I think one of the biggest problems is that running an effective motion offense relies on you not having, it relies on you not having a whole bunch of players that play unselfishly and everyone's looking for passes and they're all looking to make the right pass. And
right away, we hear the key critique. The Fever's motion offense looks good on paper, but only when the lineup magically fits together. The moment Clark isn't initiating plays, everything gets clunky. The offense is supposed to thrive on unselfishness and flow, but in reality, it demands players who have vision, timing, and instincts to make the extra pass. Instead, you get isolation, awkward handoffs, and ball watching. The bigger issue here is that only 1 or 2 players, like Aaliyah Boston, actually make those swing passes happen. And without Clark on the floor, the whole system slows down. This isn't just a system flaw, it's an exposure of player limitations. You can't call it motion offense when no one is moving the ball. That's not a motion system, that's chaos.
Aaliyah has a layup, but Natasha Howard isn't a very good passer. So instead of throwing it to Aaliyah for a layup, Aaliyah's done a really good job here. If you just throw the ball to here, it's a layup. But if you're looking here, they go into what is meant to be the dribble handoff part of pick and roll, but Kelsey Mitchell for some reason sets the screen instead. And now you've got Sophie Cunningham wide the F open here. You've got her wide open. She's still wide open. She's still wide open. And we've got a fadeaway. She is open this entire play. And I know she hit the shot there.
This one is just painful. Aaliyah Boston does her job perfectly. Seals her defender, open for a layup. Sophie Cunningham spaces out to the arc, wide open. But instead of either option, what do they get? A low percentage fadeaway. This moment captures the entire problem with the Fever without Clark. Tunnel vision and missed reads. Natasha Howard, for all her experience, doesn't make the pass. And no one else corrects it. Sophie, who's literally been shooting lights out, is completely ignored. This is where coaching and personnel clash. The scheme calls for movement and smart passing, but the players don't trust each other, or worse, they don't see each other. And it's not a one-off. It's happening possession after possession. If Caitlin Clark is the only one drawing attention and kicking to open shooters, then how is this a sustainable system?
Is that even when it comes to passing, Indiana Fever players only look north-south. So what they're really bad at doing is hitting players and they're wide open. Like, you'll see Dantas get the ball along the top, but Dantas shooting that instead of the extra pass. And it's very noticeable when it's Sophie Cunningham now because she's shooting the lights out. Sophie Cunningham is absolutely shooting the lights out, which is why it's so obvious when players are missing her. It's not like this is some big conspiracy. A lot of people are like, oh, they have something against Sophie Cunningham. They don't. They don't. These players don't have anything against Sophie Cunningham. That's not really the point of this. The point is that it's not like saying nothing.
This part says it all. The Fever are built to run downhill, but once the game slows down, they're toast. They can't play east-west. They don't recognize open shooters, especially Sophie Cunningham, who has been red hot lately. Players like Ari McDonald and Lexi Hull are so focused on driving or scoring, they completely miss what's happening around them. That's a huge problem. You cannot win playoff games like that. Motion offenses only work if you have awareness. Right now, the Fever operate like a bunch of sprinters in a chess game. No patience, no calculation, just tunnel vision. Clark can see the floor. Boston can pass. But the rest? It's hit or miss. And when it misses, it's ugly.
Normally kicks to a shooter, it's because she's kind of driving in and she's dishing outwards because she can see. She's got really good vision, but she looks at the basket and she sees things peripherally. What Caitlin Clark doesn't do if the ball gets swung to her at the top and there's someone open is make the extra pass laterally.
This right here is a systemic issue. It's not just that Caitlin Clark, Aari McDonald, or Lexi Hull are missing wide-open teammates. It's that the entire roster lacks lateral court vision. This is a death sentence for any motion offense. Why? Because in motion systems, reading the defense and swinging the ball from one side to the other is what collapses defenders and creates open shots. Instead, Fever guards stare straight ahead and either shoot or drive. The result? Predictable possessions, clogged lanes, and shooters like Sophie Cunningham getting iced out of plays. And let's be clear, Sophie is shooting at an elite level, so when she's open and gets ignored, that's not just a missed shot. That's a tactical failure. No amount of hustle can fix that kind of blindness. Without Clark's vision, even if it's limited laterally, the entire Fever perimeter goes silent.
A lot of the times, they have a problem getting them the ball too early in the offense. Like, Kelsey Mitchell should not touch the ball Natasha Howard should not touch the ball with more than 10 seconds to go on the shot clock. She should not be allowed to touch the ball.
This might sound harsh, but it's brutally honest and true. Kelsey Mitchell is one of the most talented scorers on the roster, but when she gets the ball early in the shot clock, she becomes a black hole. The offense stalls, the motion dies, and it turns into a one-on-one ISO fest. This isn't a knock on Mitchell's talent. It's a matter of role and timing. She's best when she's a finisher, not the creator. But without Clark feeding her at the right moments or keeping the defense honest, she's forced to do everything herself, and it backfires. The fact that this team needs rules like Kelsey can't touch the ball early just shows how broken the structure is. You shouldn't have to babysit your stars into the right role. They should naturally elevate the team. Mitchell can be lethal, but right now, she's a symptom of a bigger strategic collapse.
So why did we sign Chloe Bibby? I'm gonna be completely honest here. Why did the Fever sign Chloe Bibby? Just to give her DMPs? Like, what was the point? Like, what is the actual point? If the team did not have a real need for Chloe Bibby, what was the point? What was the actual point of signing Chloe Bibby? Like, I understand Chloe Bibby cooked for a few games, but if you don't want her, why sign her? I mean that. If you don't want to play Chloe Bibby, what's the point of having her on the team?
Here's where it gets even messier. The Fever are not just failing on the court, they're failing in roster management. Chloe Bibby showed flashes of promise, spacing the floor and offering size. But instead of integrating her into the rotation, she's benched. DNP after DNP. Meanwhile, players like Damiris Dantas are eating minutes despite being defensive liabilities and massive net negatives. It's like Stephanie White's system can't decide who it's built for. You sign Bibby for shooting, then never run sets to get her shots. You sub her in cold during garbage time, then blame her for not catching fire. That's not just unfair, it's incompetent. If your roster decisions contradict your tactical needs, you're not building a team, you're guessing. And without Clark to cover up those cracks, the Fever are left exposed and confused.
She has played a combined 15 minutes in her last 3 games. She played 13 minutes in the biggest game of the year against the Phoenix Mercury. She played 13 against the Phoenix Mercury. And you know what? She was good enough to guard Saju. She was seen as being a good enough defender to guard DeWan of Honor, and she forced Paige into 1 of 4 from the field.
Let's be real. When you show up in your biggest game of the season and perform, you deserve more than scraps the next time out. But for Chloe Bibby, that's exactly what happened. She held her own defensively against elite players like Satu Sabali and Paige Buchers. Yet instead of being rewarded with consistent minutes, she gets shoved into awkward garbage time rotations where she can't find rhythm. Meanwhile, others are getting cooked repeatedly on defense and still seeing starter-level minutes. This isn't just bad luck, it's a total breakdown of accountability. You can't claim to prioritize defense and then bench the player who's actually locking down. That sends the message that rotations are random, or worse, political. And again, without Caitlin Clark to command gravity and open up roles, all of these flaws are now under the spotlight.
Posting, why they were out there subbing her off against the Mercury for defensive reasons. But like, she had In her first 3 games, she was 2 of 4, 2 of 4, and 2 of 3 from 3. She has taken 1 3-point shot since. And the thing is like...
This one is mind-blowing. Dantas, a player shooting 34% from the field and 27% from 3, is now the first option on possessions when she's on the court. How? How does that happen in a system that's supposedly about ball movement and unselfishness? This is where the Clark absence hits hardest. When she's out, there's a vacuum. And in that vacuum, Dantas steps in, not because she's the best player, but because there's no structure stopping her. She gets the ball, and it's going up. Efficiency, shot quality, spacing, gone. It's ISO time. And if you're an opposing team, you want Dantas taking that shot. That's a win for your defense. If the Fever's best play without Clark is hope Dantas gets hot, you're not a playoff team. You're bait.
Oh, it's not. It is a problem where it's like... I don't hate Stephanie White's offense. I don't hate it for Caitlin Clark, even when Caitlin Clark's there. I dislike the offense because of the personnel. And a lot of the time, people are like, oh, the ball moves better. It is accidental basketball. Like, if you know the looks that this team is meant to be getting, it is their half-court offense is accidental basketball.
This is the harshest truth, and maybe the most important. It's not about beef. It's not jealousy. It's not players freezing each other out. It's that most of the Fever roster just doesn't have the passing skill or floor vision required to run a functioning half-court offense. Cross-court passes? Forget it. Hitting weak-side cutters? Not happening. Without Clark, this team's offense isn't just less effective, it collapses. And what this exposes is terrifying. The Fever weren't built around a system. They were built around a savior. And when that savior sits, the blueprint disintegrates. This team has a Caitlin Clark addiction. And like any addiction, when the supply runs dry, even for a quarter or two, the withdrawal symptoms are brutal. Without Clark, the Indiana Fever don't just lose, they lose their identity. The motion offense becomes motionless. Players stare down defenders. Shooters stand in corners, begging for a pass that never comes. Chloe Beebe and Sophie Cunningham, both dangerous weapons from deep, are reduced to decoys while less efficient scorers hijack possessions. It's not just frustrating to watch, it's embarrassing. Because the tactics fail, the rotation fails, and the accountability? It's non-existent. Let's be honest, Caitlin Clark has masked a lot of problems in Indiana. Her gravity stretches defenses. Her vision, while not perfect, is enough to feed shooters who can't otherwise get a touch. Her presence alone forces opponents to play honest. But when she's out, the truth gets ugly. Tunnel vision, poor spacing, no lateral movement, and worst of all, no solutions. Stephanie White may be a good coach, but right now, she's not putting her players in a position to succeed. You've got scorers being iced out, defensive specialists being benched, randomized lineups with no chemistry, and we're still pretending this is all part of some long-term plan? No, this isn't part of the process. This is bad coaching, bad rotations, bad basketball. And if the Fever keep trying to ride Clark into the ground without fixing what's broken around her, they're not just risking a few regular season losses, they're risking her long-term health, their locker room culture, and their entire rebuild. So here's the question. How long can you depend on one player before everything falls apart? How many more games will Sophie Cunningham get ignored while wide open? How many more times will Chloe Beebe get benched while Dantas shoots 3 of 13 and plays zero defense? How long will fans accept this? The Fever have a decision to make. Fix the system, or keep praying Clark stays on the floor. Because the second she doesn't, they crumble. Let us know in the comments. Should Stephanie White be on the hot seat? Should Dantas be benched permanently? Or do you think the Fever are still figuring things out? Hit that subscribe button and drop your thoughts below. We're just getting started.